while you were having this very beautiful conversation, it reminded me of what we are as women. And this is where my passion comes out, because in this age of now, where women are coming online, they're waking up, their DNA is waking up, Earth is waking up. So this is where it's really important to have these women's circles that can share their wider experiences, but also connect to the wisdom that we carry from Earth. So we can remember all the cultures. We can remember everything that those teachings gave to us. We carry the wisdom literally transmitted through breast milk to our children. We can remember and access that and pass it on in a very physical way. So these are things that are coming to the fore and will come to the fore, is that women will be able to relate the direct her story of Earth, not the patriarchal story. This is her story. And her story is present within our womb, in our universal wombs. Now, we're not told that our wombs have any function other than to reproduce or carry forth a menstrual cycle, or it's a reproductive area, it does certain things, it has a hormonal connection that affects all of our well-being, but it does so much more than that. So you both are inspiring me here to move forward with another section of the purpose of women's work. And this program is available to any woman from any culture. And we feel really strongly about that. So you could be in the corner of England on a farm with a load of sheep. You may go to a church. You may have a very quiet life, but you've always had a knowing, a yearning inside that you've known forever. This eternal knowingness of that there is something that you are, not just the skin suit, as it were. And you both are really inspiring me with that. So thank you. It's really great, because you're both at very different stages of your journeys. You know, it's really beautiful to see. Paola, you're about to come online in a very big way. And that's why I noted you in that circle, dear. I noted you.
Thank you.
You're going to do very special work here. And you are doing it. You've begun it. But this is really going to open up other areas where your ancestral wisdom will meet your own learnings from the planet, because you were put into the US for a reason. That reason is to reach all the indigenous peoples, like Rocio as well. In her area, she has all connections of people coming to her, students from all over the world, and they're coming to see you both do this work and learn from those teachings that have been erased from her story, or our story. I like our story better, actually. And it's really beautiful. So really thank you both. I'm sure we're going to work together in some sort of project.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very certain about that. You know, I have a habit of meeting people in very bizarre circumstances or unusual circumstances. And it's just the beauty of the synchronicity of the universe and what Earth wants us to do as women, as her daughters, because we carry everything. All universal information flows through us, and it doesn't with men. And I know that we've all been men and women in the past, but if you're incarnated as a female, then you're going to have a different skill set, quite a very different skill set, and a much more sensitive skill set. So I feel very strongly, you know, both of you have this very strong female line that works with you very well. Rocio, oh my goodness, love. How would you perceive the story of the Americas with women waking up. What is your psychic perception of that? I'm going to ask this to you as well, Paola.
Well, I know in some way that since in the beginning of the beginnings, they were a very matriarchal line that was in charge, yeah, for the education, for the even the healing, like says Paola, and other things, and they were always with the masculine energy in a very nice companion way. Nobody was in front, nobody was behind. It's always together, But with sorry, but for the religions and this conquest that is invasion, for me, invasion is no conquest. Um, from the people that come in, yeah, they try to change because they have another idea. So they this mix is made the result that we have right now. Yeah, it's a culture from Mexico to the south, confusing and well, where the women, they are losing their own position, like should be. And but also we see in the young people that is, for me, is beautiful. See in the city, in the metro, the men with the babies, carrying the babies and carrying the bags with the things for the babies, because they're going to the place where they take care of the baby, right? So in the past, we didn't see these things. Only the women carry the baby, right? But now we can see more frequently that the men, the young men, they are wake up of this female energy too, that this duality that we have everybody, yeah, and they are wake up in this conscience about they have to be and take care of the baby as the woman, because they have to work both, because the economical situation is not that the woman stay very nice. No, it's not nice. Of course, they have a lot of things to do, but the woman going and have to make work, because the man by himself can't support and give everything to the family. Both they have to work, both they have to take care of the house, both they have to take care of the baby. In this way, the man is in this process of awake the conscience about female energy, and that part is beautiful. I think so. It's beautiful. I love when I see the guy carrying the baby by himself and the woman is not around because she's working too, right? So I love this part. And everybody, when we see, especially my age, a young guy with a baby and the things for the baby, I will say, oh, so sweet, right? And we take care for him because he's a very happy guy, right? Yeah. So this is in a resume what I feel, it's my perception. And well, I think this is the time. This is the time when women, we need to retake this position. This thing about
Yes.
everywhere, politician, economical, education, everywhere, and then we will have a different world.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
What about you, Paola? What are your thoughts?
So I reflect on my own life, and I reflect on the infrastructure that I am living within, that is very different from the infrastructure that my mother lived within, or my grandmother or great grandmother did, to reach their highest potential. And I feel so privileged to be living at this point in time. And I often wonder how they felt, in their own time, because we're a compendium of progress. And as there is this calling for us to look within, for us to look beyond what we can see and beyond what we can touch, and as we do our own individual healing work, that influences the collective, but it also influences the generations that are to come after us. And I know that this is a very exciting time for women. It wasn't that long ago, you know, where like, for instance, in my mother's community, like they didn't really have the choice to marry who they wanted to marry, for instance. And although sometimes the progress might feel slow, I feel like it at this point in time right now, it's very accelerated. And even during this pandemic, and even during this calling to do more healing work, you know, as we heal ourselves, we heal the collective, we heal our exterior world. And I think that that gives us the opportunity to kind of make amends and to create the spaces for women to reach their highest potential, and not be burdened by these systems of patriarchy that dictate the direction of women's lives and what they can and cannot do. And as Rocio mentioned, like we are seeing these shifts, you know, even in my generation. For me to be the age that I am and not be married, like that's like really revolutionary. But that's not necessarily the choice that my mother had or that my grandmother had. And it's really exciting. And I'm also really looking forward to seeing, you know, as I become an elder, to seeing like the progression of us aligning as divine feminine beings, aligning with the power that has sometimes been suppressed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is that realization of divine self as a woman. And once you are completely confident and congruent and coherent with that on all levels of your existence, everything else shifts and changes around you. Now, this is one of the key things about women's work, and the purpose of women's work is to provide these spaces for women so that they can learn ancient traditions that will benefit them and their families, but also work with ourselves as technology. We are the best of the best here on the planet right now. We have the most perfected technology. We are the leading edge generation. I don't know what generation to call it, actually, because there's been so many. But we are the best generation technology that can outrun any system, any machine, any belief system, heal ourselves, awaken to potentials beyond what we know in this universe, and actually put that wisdom into action so we can create these zones for that healing, for every woman to remember who they are, for every woman to learn how to connect with their womb properly on a universal level, to provide education about patriarchy, rape, abuse recovery, what is acceptable, what are cultural traditions that need to be removed. And I'm speaking from my daughter's perspective, because I educated her to reject everything and create her own way. Yes, she would have learned from me, but she didn't have those ancestral grandmothers. She has a grandmother, but to provide her with that knowledge. And she sees how the elders have lived, and she thinks, gosh, I'm not doing it that way. And that's just a girl of 12. She's broken all the rules already. You know, I would expect that. You know, I would have done the same myself, which I have, but not, and then got sucked back into that infrastructure. But it's these infrastructures that block us from being women, because they tie into our thought processes. They tie into energetically into us. It draws upon our heart energy. Now, this is really important for women to know, is that it has been designed, the system has designed patriarchy in this way to suppress these very skills that we've got. And we're able to read and diagnose with this technology the sickness, the illness, malaise, the pain of every single soul. We have that ability to change something, yet alone in groups of women of 12 or 13, which we were also crucified for back in the day, called witches, all the rest of it. So the importance of these centres are to provide that level of local connection with, you know, new technology information, but also learning how to trade and do business together across the planet without the interference of those infrastructures that seek to tax us and harvest our energies. Because essentially what they want, this system wants, are breeders, slaves, and sexual playthings. Now, for me, I can hear Western women, I can hear the English middle class perspective saying, oh no, we don't do that. No. But actually, every woman who is even married is a slave to the system. And we are not told that. Women go into marriage, oh, wedding dress, blah, blah, blah. Oh, parents are around, everybody's around. We're all singing praises to some sort of false god. Here we go. Quick, tell her to be quiet. She'll be struck down in a minute. I doubt it. But, this is the biggest myth that, you know, in a marriage contract, that you are supported in some way by the state or the system. You are not. You are there as fodder. You're there to be harvested from. And this is, you know, this is why we are living the lives we are. And even in the West, I'm only referring, why am I being so Britain-centric? I suppose because I'm here and I'm seeing it, that the suppression here is also the same as it is in the US, as it is in Mexico, as it is in China, as it is in India, as it is in Australia and across the world. We are all going through the same suppression, or have gone through that same suppression. And it's only when the slave stands up and says, actually, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm doing it my way, free of all your interactions, your non-interactions, and your silent messages into my life of how I should live, how I should be. And it is such a huge program that, you know, I absolutely believe that it is doable in one generation.